My name is Carlo. I'm the creative director and founder of Live In Theater, a New York City-based company, and I'm also a member of the Interactive Deep Dive.
I'm Christy. I am a member of the Deep Dive, and we are here at Overlook Film Festival to have a panel discussion on building interactive performances, interactive experiences, and specifically to talk about open mind and spirit of the torch.
And I'm Joanna Harmon, and I run a company called Live Action Set. That's a devised theater company based in Minneapolis. I'm also a member of the Deep Dive and a creator, producer of Open Mind. In all of the work that I have created as an artist, more and more it investigates the relationship between audience and performer. And as you go down that rabbit hole, you find ways to make that relationship stronger, closer. So I think immersive theater, by getting rid of the boundaries and the walls in a traditional sense, you can establish a more meaningful connection between performer and audience, and making that live experience of being in the same place uniquely something theatrical.
What she said. And to add to that, I think it's a question, for me, it's always been a question of making something that's new and different. I'm a huge proponent of people creating their own work, and I've been making my own work for about 15 years now. And when it comes to interactive and immersive work, it's just, it's new and it's different and breaking the mold of old patterns. And I think particular with the interactive that we create is finding ways to get people to really connect and have long-lasting resonance to the work, so that it really moves them, and that could be making them laugh hysterically, shocking them, making them have a strong connection to the actor.
Yeah, I think I found myself proposing and brainstorming interactive and immersive experiences before I even had vocabulary of what that was. I remember a project that I proposed in college that involved a alternate currency for to simulate what it would feel like to be an immigrant in coming across to the U.S. and living in New York. And I, right out of college, was part of an immersive company called Journey Lab, so that's sort of my first foray into immersive work, and I felt this hunger for involving the audience at a deeper and deeper level, and that is how I got involved with the Deep Dive. Jeff has a passion for really putting audience members into the story and having them live it. So you're not just watching a story, you are the center in a very true sense of the word of living out the story, and that is just something that can touch someone more deeply than anything else. Well, Joanna and I first heard about the Overlook Film Festival when we were at the Immersive Design Summit, and we met Landon there, and we weren't able to mount anything for this year because we had our project Open Mind for South by, and we were just chatting with Landon about the possibilities of creating something in the future for this awesome festival that's really pushing the boundaries on immersive work and trying to have more and more of that, and how we could be a part of that as the Deep Dive team. So it was proposed for us to do a panel about interactive work and open mind, and Brian Bishop, our protagonist participant, was already going to be here, so it was the perfect alignment.
I think being at the Overlook Festival is a really exciting thing for us because they're not just a movie festival. They're pushing the boundaries already by presenting immersive work and presenting it in a festival setting. That's unheard of. And that's really awesome to get to be a part of a festival that is on the forefront like that. And to then expand the talk of what's happening to this version of interactive that we do, to continue pushing out the boundaries.
Yeah, I think we're just all very excited to be here to meet colleagues and future colleagues, and just to grow the art form. It's super exciting to be at a festival that actually it's the first time I've been to a festival that actually has immersive work as part of the festival. So it's pretty innovative in itself. So we're stoked. We have two different projects that we'll be discussing at the panel. One of them is called Spirit of the Torch, which is it's actually a perfect one to talk about here at the Overlook Film Festival, because it's a horror-themed experience. It is actually inspired by slasher films, Friday the 13th and other ones like it. And we were commissioned to create that piece, and it's help me out here, I don't remember.
It's a 5-hour-long interactive experience for 7 participants and 8 actors. That there's a continuous narrative that happens over those 5 hours. The conceit is that we are all former campers, and we are making an homage trip back to our favorite summer camp now that it's been closed and abandoned, and we have a romp out in the woods for 5 hours, and Friday the 13th type things start happening.
And it has all those elements that you would find. There's the characters, the quintessential characters that you'd meet there. And the coolest thing about it is that each audience participant is actually coming as a character, and they're jumping in from the very beginning. And there's campfire songs, s'mores, and terrifically horrifying stuff that happens, as well as super fun and just bonding like you would with a bunch of friends at a camp.
So the characters that the participants play are the main characters of the story, but there's no script. They're not following anything that they know needs to be done. It's malleable depending on what they're bringing to the table, and yet there's a very scripted story happening that they get to be a part of and facilitate each night.
So there's multiple things going on with the work that we do as far as the participants. You're always in it as a player, if you will, and you're also watching it. So there's multiple things happening simultaneously, and just a lot of magic.
For us, a big part of what defines that interaction is this emotional relationship that exists between characters. So it's more about how you are interacting with a character than what you decide to do. And that kind of interaction opens up a new kind of investment in the story.
In our experiences, we try to build authentic relationships, or we do build authentic relationships with our participants. So talking about this emotional investment, and how they're responding to us, we give them a clear, defined relationship. You're my husband, you're my brother, you're my best friend since we were children. And the way that we interact with each other builds that connection. And it's amazing when you put unrehearsed participants in a clear and specific role, how immediately they are willing to jump in and embody that. You give someone a hug and you run up to them and they're not like, I don't know you. They buy into the reality that, no, you're my best friend since we were children. And it's really magical to see how audience participants can start to invent and live and engage in that make-believe. And
I think that the audiences are hungry for it. I think this is definitely this brand, if you will, of interactive is definitely the next frontier. It's what people want. They don't know how to articulate it, but they want to have a stronger connection than maybe watching a performance that happens all around you. They want to be a part of it. So by setting it up in such a way that they actually can invest, just like Christy said, people jump in like 100, 1,000%. we're always like so surprised. At least I'll speak for myself.
Yeah.
Always so surprised. Like, wow, the level of commitment that this person is playing with from the very get-go. I was like mind blowing.
Yeah. A phrase that we like is the freedom you can experience when you put on the cloak of fiction, and you can step into this fictional world, be somebody else, react in a new way, and not have consequences on your real life, and yet inform how you live your real life.
And it's something that we all inherently know how to do. At the core of what we do is awakening people to play. We remind them to play, because it's something that as we get older, we just think, oh, that's for children, we can't do that anymore. But we have that reservoir inside of us that we want to have that experience of just playing with abandon. And yeah, awesome.
When I first came to the deep dive, I was honestly a little bit skeptical of Jeff's like how much he expected audience members to jump in and participate and like really be a character. I was like, can they really do that? Can they really embody that? And when we did our first production of Spirit of the Torch, I was like, oh my God, there is this whole other world of interactive, of the level that an audience participant can be part of an experience that I'd never ever seen before. And it's completely changed the way that I view immersive and interactive.
I'm directing a project called Unset that is an interactive dance project. So it invites someone from the audience to be the prima dancer of an improvised dance, supported by a company of professional dancers, musicians, lighting designers, projection artists, to manifest an expression without words, whether you come from a dance background or not. So that's most immediately happening for me, and Christy's a part of it as well in Austin this coming weekend and next weekend. Yeah. And then, yeah.
How do people find out about it, Joanna?
Go to liveactionset.org. And beyond that, lots of rumblings of projects that are in the works, like little champagne bubbles, happening, very exciting. And I think a big thing that will happen in this next phase of the work that we are all collectively creating is training. Because to do this work, you need a specific
specific kind of skill set.
Yeah, specific kind of skill set. A specific combo of improvisation, theatrical technique, story structure, social psychology, and oftentimes an understanding of technology that combined in a certain way creates this special kind of interactive. So I think that's one of the primary things on the horizon is trainings happening across the country.
I have a branch of my company, Live in Theater, that's opening up in Austin, Texas. We are supposed to premiere at the end of next month, May. liveintheateraustin.com, and I'm working on a new project that I was able to play test at the Interactive Deep Dive, which is called Break Them. And it's basically, I've borrowed from, this is really good for me to say it, I've borrowed from the Escape the Room format in the structure, only that it's an hour and 15 minutes, 12 participants, the clock's ticking in the background. But essentially what it is, it's kind of like a murder mystery, but it's not murder. It's not a mystery as much as it is an interrogation scenario where it has a really cool VR component. So audience members come in, they put on the headgear, and they are in the actual crime scene. They're gathering information in the virtual world, really rich environment, to be able to use that information. We step out of the virtual reality, and we have 4 interrogation booths with live interactors in it, and now it becomes live interactive break them situation where the audience is trying to get one of the suspects to confess, essentially to break them. So I'm very excited about that, workshopping that, and we'll see where that goes.
I am working on Unset with Joanna, and I'm specifically helping with the interactive video projection portion of that project. And I'm really excited about doing interactive dance because I have a long history of being a dancer. And then after that, we all go our separate ways. Some people are going to LA. I'm going back to New York for a little bit, and then we have a bunch of projects that are on the horizon as potentials, but sort of playing and figuring out what the next place and the next thing is going to be.